presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the We are MC.
In Detroit, the Royals battled two of the best pitchers in the game, but couldn't get the big hit. But at home, the big hits came early and often, breaking out with 7 runs on 13 hits for their first win. Game 2 at the White Sox is next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Royals baseball comes to you from Kauffman Stadium after a bitter cold day yesterday. Very little wind today, and the sun is shining for the Royals and the White Sox. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark. I'm Ryan Lefevre. You'll remember that as last year's exciting season came to a finish, the Royals' off-season attention seemed to be on acquiring or trading for a middle-of-the-order impact bat. In the end, what the Royals did was remake the top of the batting order, and that middle-of-the-order bat was in-house, with Alex Gordon going from leadoff down to number 5. And look at the impacts yesterday in that first win. Nori Aoki, Omar Infante, the number 1 and number 2 hitters, were on base a combined 6 times, and the Royals looking for that big hit. They got it from Alex in the first inning when he drove in 3. Let's welcome in Rex Hudler, and as our late friend Fred White used to say in his broadcast, if you'd like to dream a little bit and think about the Royals this year, it should be a much better year on offense.
Partner, there are no if, and, or buts about it. The secret and the formula for success for the Royals will be at the top of that lineup. No doubt about it. And what a better day to do it than opening day in front of the K, a packed house. That's right, Aoki, fantastic batting skills. Infante, leadoff capability, but he hits second, hits behind the runner. Get on base for the meat of the order. That's the formula. And did it happen? Just textbook. Early and often. Those early runs that Gordon off of one swing in the bat gave the 3 runs. They were able to breathe. Guthrie went on and did his thing. Look for more of this in the K this year and also on the road, because there's no questioning the ability of these guys at the top of the order and that cleanup hitter in Alex Gordon, who's down in the order this year. So today, it's chin to the pin to win. Believe it.
Bruce Chen for the Royals, John Danks for the White Sox. Royals baseball is brought to you by your Kansas City Chevy dealer. It's Chevy Truck Month. Visit your Kansas City Chevy dealers to take advantage of Truck Month offers on the all-new Chevy Silverado. By the Missouri Lottery. Try the Missouri Lottery's new Lucky Sevens playbook with 6 pages of scratchers and 122 chances to win. And by AT&T, rethink possible.
looking for the first winning streak of the season for the Royals. Welcome back to the cave. Joel Goldberg here in right field. Royals making their first in-season transaction of the year. Just looking for a little extra bullpen depth. So they designate for assignment utility-man Pedro Ciriaco and bring up 9th round 2011 draft pick, a right-hander named Aaron Brooks, a strike thrower who was the AA pitcher of the year last year. Now here's the deal. They want that bullpen depth. They obviously don't have that depth for the middle infielder. If something were to happen to Alcides Escobar in a game, Omar Infante would move over to shortstop, Danny Valencia would play second base, and they would still have the ability to go down to the minors the next day and get someone like a Jason Donald or a Christian Colon, and they hope to keep Pedro Ciriaco if he clears waivers and have him also. They know what they have today. Bruce Chen, the veteran lefty, is on the hill. First pitch is coming up next from Kauffman Stadium.
Right stuff, low price, every day. Robin Ventura's team, in losing yesterday to the Royals, it was their first game without hitting a home run, and their first game with fewer than 11 hits as the Royals took game 1 7-5. And here's his lineup today against Bruce Chen.
All right. They've got an action player in that leadoff spot, Adam Eaton. You can tell by his body language he means business. But the guy Bruce better watch out for, Viciedo. He's pretty much been raking Bruce. He got 3 home runs in his career and 7 RBIs, hit 345. So it's up to Bruce to throw his bag of magic tricks at the White Sox. He's done that in the past. Bruce, in 15 starts as the Royals, got a nice 7-4 record with a 3.1 ERA. He's got to be able to keep the ball down, utilize that defense, watch for different arm angles from Bruce, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. He invents as he goes along. He's a magician from the left-hander. Let's check it out. Let's forward around the horn. Let's go around the horn. Brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers, and why not? We got Escobar highlighted, but I got to tell you, Escobar knows the confines at the K very well. However, Aoki in right field, Nori, his teammates call him, he's getting used to everything out there. The wind, the conditions. Yesterday he wasn't able to hold on to a ball. But let me tell you, this guy loves information. He's a sponge. He sucks up everything that outfield instructor Rusty Kuntz tells him. He should be fine.
Line to center field, and Kane had to play like a hockey goalie just to block it and keep it in front of him. And Eaton has his 3rd hit of the series.
Oh, man, talk about a tester right off the bat. Well, that's a hard ball to read. Kane started in on it, tried to make the catch, and then he backed off at the last second and used his natural reaction just to keep it in front of him. It's a good thing. Well, that could have been a 4-bagger if I got by him. Eaton can fly.
Not as windy, and the wind is out of a completely different direction. It was out of the north-northwest, which means cold yesterday, and now it's out of the south. So that means the temperatures will be rising. We expect low 60s today and maybe mid 60s tomorrow, as Simeon tried to bunt his way on and fouls it back into the seats. White Sox scored in the 1st inning yesterday. Jeremy Guthrie giving up a run in an inning that could have been a lot worse. He was able to work around a couple of runners. Guthrie ended up with the win. So he continues his strong pitching against the White Sox, and maybe 2nd most effective against Chicago, and the Royals rotation is on the mound right now.
Bruce, he's got a variety of moves over there at first base too. He'll hold it. He's got a little quick pickoff move, and lots of times he's successful because a lot of base stealers will go on first movement. So when he picks up his foot, he'll go ahead and throw to Hosmer over there, and Hosmer will get the guy at second. Counts as a pickoff.
Just foul. Just missed the bag.
Oh, nice practice.
Played it anyway.
That's a nice practice ball.
Here are the umpires, and behind the plate would be the Reverend Edward George Barrett, otherwise known as Ted Barrett. He is an ordained minister, a former boxer, and an umpire crew chief in his 17th year. Greg Gibson at first base. Paul Schreiber is at second, and Will Little is at third. He was behind the plate yesterday.
Ted Barrett found a barber. Got some of them locks cut off between yesterday and today. Remember yesterday you had all that hair flowing out the back end? He got tightened up. Good umpire.
And in his boxing career once was a sparring partner of George Foreman. Tough play. Escobar out at second base on a close play, and that was the only play that Escobar had, and he got some help from Infante.
Man, I'm going to tell you now, most of the left side of the infield will be heavy for action off of Bruce Chin, because right-handers are going to be pulling that off-speed pitches. Escobar might be playing a shade in the hole, but right here, really nice play. Throw was a little low. Infante, with good hands, was able to pick it out of the dirt. The good hands people play up the middle. Watch this. Out. Good call. Didn't need a replay.
So instead of 2 on for Jose Abreu, a runner at first with 1 out, and he gets jammed, but so strong he muscles it into left field for a base hit, which makes the Escobar play even more important. So Abreu has his first hit of the series after being hitless yesterday for the first time this year. Bruce Chen, and we showed you the numbers as a starter, and that didn't begin until the middle of July the 12th at Cleveland, right before the All-Star break, and then finished the year in the starting rotation. And when the season was over, he had the best ERA of his long major league career, if you count the seasons where he's pitched 100 innings or more. Outside to Diane Viciedo. Viciedo did not play yesterday, as Avisail Garcia was in right field.
Wants to keep the ball down on this fella. He's got some pop. And the way the wind's blowing, exact opposite of the way it was yesterday opening day. Yesterday from left to right, today right to left.
Great changeup. 1 ball, 1 strike.
See, when right-handed hitters are way out in front like that, the tendency is going to be for them to pull the ball to the left side of the infield. Bruce, he's more of a fly ball pitcher, but sometimes when you get that righty off balance, he's going to hit some ground balls.
2-1.
And one of the reasons that Bruce is a fly ball pitcher is because his off-speed stuff is so good. He tricks batters that the righties are off balance and they get out there and flail and they pop it up. See a lot of frustrated righties after they face Bruce. Got some good numbers.
Having a tough time picking up the changeup, and those numbers are the reason why Viciedo is in there. He is going to lose a lot of at bats. In fact, this is just his 4th at bat of the year. But last year he had 441 at bats. The year before that 505, and he may not even come close to that this season. Puts him away with a fastball. Really set him up, didn't he, Hud?
Sure does. The prior pitch is what set that up, though. Watch it again. This is called a changeup, and it's the same arm speed. You see that right there? Your same arm speed as the fastball, but because he holds it in the back 3 fingers, it takes a lot off of it. Now here's the strikeout pitch. So he speeds the bat up, slows it down. Pretty simple. However, it takes a lot of years to learn that craft. And yes, he chews his gum confidently.
Two on, 2 out, and Gillespie goes after the first pitch, and Moustakas will run out of room as it lands in the 5th row. Gillespie batted 3rd yesterday and finished with a hit, a run scored, and an RBI. From Omaha, Millard North High School, and his team won the state championship his senior year, and then he headed to Wichita State to play for the Shockers, and then drafted in the 1st round by the Giants. Bruce changes his arm angle. 1 ball, 1 strike. One of the great players of all time retired last year, Mariano Rivera, who is from Panama. So Bruce, with 2 wins, can tie Mariano Rivera for the most wins that is, by a Panamanian pitcher. But Bruce, of course, will tell you that he's only 651 saves away from tying Rivera, because Bruce does have 1 career save.
That's right. Oh, what a good sense of humor he's got. But when it comes to pitching, there it is. A nice little slider. You can see how that ball broke away. Love how we got that slow motion camera, can show you the grips the pitchers use to try to trick the hitters. Cat and mouse game. Classic confrontation, pitcher versus batter. Trying to get each other off balance. Oh, my. Good spot. Ooh, that caught the plate somewhere, but might have been off. Three and two. What's he going to come with? Most hitters are looking fastball.
Runners on the move, and he struck him out. So Bruce got some help from the defense on the Escobar play, and then helped himself out by finishing off the inning with strikeouts against Viciedo and Gillespie.
He's magical.
yesterday, and Ned and just about everyone else saying that while the regular season has begun, the normal season starts today. Back into the regular routines and no more long introductions before games. And nobody is more excited about getting back into his normal routine than the routine-oriented Alex Gordon, who had the big hit yesterday, the 3-run double in the first inning.
You mean Ned was referring to pomp and circumstance?
Yes.
Happens all over baseball, and it's a good thing. Opening day special. All right, he's a left-hander. John Danks. He's had some pretty good success against the Royals, 6-0 with a 2.47. Hasn't lost against him. And he's right over the top. He's got 87-92 with his fastball. They hope, at least Donnie Cooper, the pitching coach, hopes he sees that velocity. 2 and 4 seam sinker, cutter, curveball, changeup. He's pretty good with it. He mixes them well. 7-year veteran.
Aoki 3 hits and a walk yesterday, so he did his job as the #1 hitter, on base 4 times, scored 1 run, still 2-2. And then Omar Infante right behind him was on base 3 times with 3 hits. So plenty of run scoring opportunities for Hosmer, Butler, Gordon, Perez. Did he go? No swing. 3-2. John Danks, 28 years old. He was the Rangers' first-round pick 11 years ago, and then was involved in a big trade going from Texas to Chicago in a deal that sent Brandon McCarthy to the Rangers. And at the time, he was the Rangers' #1 prospect. Great plate appearance. Down 1-2, 3 foul balls, and he's on with a walk.
Boy, I'll tell you, that's fresh to have a guy that has that type of plate discipline in your leadoff spot. Defensively, we'll highlight the young catcher, Nieto, making his first major league start behind the plate. He's a switch hitter. Got some nice future ahead of him. Got a little pop in his bat. We'll see how he throws. Supposed to have a decent arm. And you know he'll be tested. The Royals do not stay on the bases long. They go. Danks has an improved pickoff move. He's gotten better over the years. He's got to where he's pretty good at holding runners and trying to pick them off. Takes time. Some lefties are naturally have a great move naturally, but some develop it as you go along. They're not real good when they start, but then after being in the league a little while, they start picking up little points here and there.
One and one on Infante.
Tell you what, Ned Yost has the same lineup that he's used in all the games this year so far. Wasn't that way last year at all. And that changed on December 5th when they got Aoki and they traded for him. And then when they got Infante on the 15th of December of last year. So within 2 weeks period of time, Ned went ahead and established his lineup when they acquired these 2 top of the order hitters in the 2-week period that happened. Got a leadoff hitter in Aoki, then went right ahead the next couple weeks and got Infante. And so far, so good. He's had everybody in the slots that he had made up in the wintertime, and fortunately got through spring without any injuries. And now he's saying, all right, go play, guys. Continuity in your batting order is really important, especially to the hitters, the performers.
And the quality of at-bats that Aoki and Infante have. They know the strike zone, they work the count, and they will be getting on base plenty, we hope. But I think there's also going to be a mental aspect of it where the pitcher could be somewhat fried by the time he gets to Hosmer and Butler, just trying to figure out a way to get rid of Aoki and Infante.
That's right. Mentally fried.
Shallow right center, and Eaton is there to make the play. So one down with Aoki back to first base. Well, Hud was telling you about Adrian Nieto, the White Sox catcher. He went to high school with Eric Hosmer, and Hosmer gives him a little acknowledgement there. And they spent some time together last night after the game. So buddies having dinner one moment, and now one buddy trying to figure out how to get another buddy out.
Yeah, and how about that? Do you see the little love tap he gave him with his bat on his right shoulder? It's a good thing that pad was there. Might have given him a little Charlie in that throwing arm.
Hosmer 2 hits, a double, and a run scored in the game yesterday. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Okay, here it is. Sometimes you acknowledge a guy. Look at that. He punched him. You go, hey, look, watch out now. That's my cannon right there. That's my throwing arm. Friends off the field, not on. Oh, watch out, Billy.
White Sox will turn that into 2 as the bat went flying into the screen. So in the end, after the leadoff walk, Danks faces only 3 in the first. Score as we go to the second inning. America's new sports network is the place to turn before every slam, every goal, and every game, with America's pregame beginning April 7th only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tune into America's pregame weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Fox Sports 1. Paul Konerko will lead off against Bruce Chen. And this is just his 3rd at bat as he takes on a reserve role this year. It was the least productive season of his career last year. He was hurt for some of the season, on the disabled list in July with a back problem, and he will go down certainly as one of the best players in White Sox history and one of the best players against the Royals in history.
After playing every day for all these years, it's not easy to handle a backup role. So Robin Ventura, the third-year skipper of the White Sox, took a little trip in the offseason before they acquired the first baseman Abreu. Flew down to Arizona to see Konerko and said, "Hey, Paulie, we're going to about ready to acquire a first baseman. Just want to let you know, out of respect, that you're not going to have a major role in the team. You're going to be a backup type player. You're going to pinch hit every so often, get a few at bats here and there. But how are you with that?" He said, "You know what, Skip? I've had a nice career, and I'm at the stage of my career where I can handle that role." So that's important, how a manager treats his players. Shows him respect by going over there before he acquired the other player and let him know what they were doing. That's the ultimate respect. Most of the time, teams are going to go out and make their moves, and they let the players know later. Because players really are property. They're workers. So you don't normally ask a guy what he thinks, but for a guy with Paul Konerko's stature, that's only proper to go. That's respect. That's why the players love playing for Ventura.
0-2 on De Aza. Bruce Chen has everything working today. Good location with his fastball. That was a great curve to De Aza. He's got his slider working. He has thrown some excellent changeups already. Tried to get him to chase a fastball up. 1-2. As slow as 68 and as fast as 86. So a margin of 18 miles per hour. 2-2.
Pitching coach of the Royals, Dave Island, he's a no-nonsense guy. Got a lot of old school in him. I asked him about Bruce today. He says, slow the bats down, speed them up. Same Bruce, just be Bruce.
That's a swing. And that's according to third base umpire Will Little. Now, De Aza will argue that maybe his bat went too far, but was the intent to swing or get out of the way?
Yep, that's it. That's a very difficult judgment call for umpires. And typically they'll ask the guy down the third base line or the first base line, depending on the batter and what he's facing, because he has a better angle, a better view.
So Bruce has struck out 4 in a row as Ramirez trying to find a way to get on Show's bunt. Viciedo and Gillespie for the final 2 outs of the first, and now Konerko and De Aza to begin the second.
So, you know, Ryan, some of the tricks of the trade, whenever you check swing and you're a hitter, Freddie Lynn told me a long time ago. He said the end of your bat, some guys have them cupped. And you see Ramirez's bat, they call that cupped. It's white. Okay, when you check swing, that white, the umpire sees that white, and he's going to say, yes, you went. Freddie Lynn said, Hud, why don't you just color that in black? Color it in black so when you check your swing, it's not as obvious. So little secrets like that that could maybe keep an at bat from being called out on a check swing sometimes work.
Hit hard. Kane into left center field, runs it down. So Bruce has his pitches working and he has his defense working with 2 scoreless innings. Royals coming up in the bottom of the second. second inning. And as a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one today, to look forward to Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Strike from John Danks, who opened his outing with a walk against Aoki, and then 2 batters later able to get Eric Hosmer to ground into a double play, so he only faced 3. 1-1 on Billy. He was on base 3 times yesterday with a single, 2 walks, and he scored a run. Here's that cut fastball. 2 balls, 1 strike. Danks, a pitcher who has something called a reverse split, where he's better against righties than lefties. There are his numbers from the last 3 years: 4 and 14 in 2013. Abreu into foul ground and then fades back into fair territory to take care of Billy. And out number 1. John Danks, the year before these 3, won 15 games, and he really looked like he was blossoming into one of the best left-handers in the league. Got a long-term contract from the White Sox. 8-12 in 2011. Then he had shoulder surgery, which wiped out most of his 2012 season. And then last year, 4 and 14.
Yeah, and you know, when it comes to records, Ryan, sometimes that can be deceptive, especially when you're pitching for a team that's last in the league in runs. He only got 3.2 runs of support, which is 4th lowest in the league. So that's one of the reasons why the win-loss record wasn't that stellar. However, they have enough faith in this guy to make him their number 4 or 5 starter.
Alex jumps on a pitch that was up and hits it right to Eaton in center field. So 2 down in the bottom of the second inning. Well, parents, don't forget to sign your kids up for Sluggers Blue Crew. It's a great deal for the kids. Members receive a limited edition Royals baseball t-shirt, a cap, a card magnet, 2 ticket vouchers, a free stadium tour, and much more for just $25. Sign them up right now at Royals.com/Blue Crew. Inside to Sal. 1-for-3 with a couple of walks yesterday and his first major league stolen base. And you know, we have to give credit, sorry Hud, where credit's due to official scorer David Boyce, because a pitch in the dirt and we're all looking at one another. Right. How the heck is that a stolen base? But Sal was running on the play, so therefore he gets a stolen base.
Because we were looking at each other going, it was a pass ball. But you know, you have to be watching the runner. If he makes the break, you go ahead and assume he's going to steal the bag. But so far against righties, Danks is cutting that fastball in on their hands and then working changeups away. There's a cutter in.
Ramirez throws from the grass, and Abreu got his glove on it, and the ball pops out. So first of all, we'll see if there's an error, and the second part is, who is the error on?
Since it didn't hit the ground, I'm going to give it to the first baseman if it's an error. That should have been, and it was. That's just a clanker.
So an opportunity for Mike Moustakas. Back to Danks on one hop. And that throw is wild, but Abreu handles it to end the inning. So Danks only needs one more pitch after the error. No score at Kauffman Stadium at the end of 2. It's only 2 innings so far for Bruce Chen. Hud, he looks like he has his A game.
That's right. You hear a lot of people in baseball say he's a 4-pitch guy. Well, most starters are. Okay, fastball, try to keep it out of the middle of the bat. Sliders are designed for swing and misses like that. Change-ups, mainly to righties, is another full pitch. But how about the breaker? That's right, the curveball, the jelly legger, the yellow hammer. A lot of terms for it in the game, hard to hit. But the reason a starting pitcher has 4 pitches is because he has to face the hitters sometimes 3 and 4 times a game. You got to have an arsenal to show these guys, keep them off balance. Now, a relief pitcher might only use 2 pitches because he's only going to see the guys 1 time, and he stays with his bread and butter. For Bruce, we showed you the 4 pitches.
Nieto jumps on the first pitch, and Kane, battling a little bit of sun in center field, makes the play.
But you know, when you're Bruce, you turn those 4 pitches into about 7 or 8. When you drop your arm angle down, when you change speeds off of your fastball, so you're adding and subtracting off of those pitches, adds up to a whole different look for the hitters. Reason why they're frustrated lots of times facing a guy like Bruce.
So what does a hitter do when you're going up against a guy who has so many different options?
You zone him. You look out in front of the plate. You look for that one area. And no matter what pitch he throws, if it's in that box, that's when your eyes light up and throw your hands right at it.
So instead of going up there and saying, I'm looking for a fastball, I'm looking for middle in, or I'm looking for middle away.
Or I want his changeup. I'm going to look out there. I'm going to look on the outer half. And if you've never faced a guy like that, you listen to all the scouting reports and you read them, and then you go up there and maybe take a few pitches, kind of see what it looks like for you. Comparable pitchers to Bruce. Jamie Moyer. Kenny Rogers late in his career. Because at one time, all these guys throw hard. But then as they evolve and they get later in their careers like Bruce, they learn how to soft toss, is what hitters call them. They're soft tossers.
There's the curve. He has 5 strikeouts, which is a big number for him when you're only talking 2 2/3 innings. 2 down in the third as Bruce has retired 7 in a row.
Well, so far, Dave Island's got to be pleased with Bruce being Bruce. Tommy John was another guy like Bruce. Guys that know how to make a living by changing speeds and locating. It's not about the velocity.
Semien 0 for 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. And his at bat was key in the first inning, as Bruce could have been in more trouble if not for a nice play at short by Alcides Escobar. Otherwise, the White Sox would have had 3 straight hits to begin the game. But Escobar made an excellent play in the hole and got a force out at second base. And then Bruce finished the inning with consecutive strikeouts. Just inside 3-1. As far as comparing pitchers go, Hud, to your point, Bruce said that on days he would pitch, he would look at video of Jason Vargas and wanted to see what lineups tried to do against Vargas. So if he was going to be facing the Orioles in a few weeks, he'd want to see their most recent start against Vargas, and that'd give him an idea of what to do against Baltimore. Hosmer makes a play, a step in foul ground. So 3 up, 3 down again. And now Bruce has knocked down the last 8 White Sox. a missionary in Brazil for 17 and a half years, a member of the Sisters of St. Francis of the Holy Eucharist here in Independence, right down the street. She coordinates the Franciscan Sisters Mission Warehouse, distributing food, toys, equipment, and medical supplies to poor and disadvantaged people. And in 18 years, she has distributed more than 205 shipments throughout the world. You know, when we go to Seattle or we go to San Francisco or Oakland and we see those big cargo ships and they have those containers which end up on a train, and that's how they're transported across the ocean and then across the country. Those are generally known as containers. So you're talking about 205 of those she has transported around the world in 18 years.
Fantastic. Congratulations, sister.
That's our first Buck O'Neil legacy seat, our second of the year.
This is a beautiful city, Ryan, for many reasons. One of them is their beautiful ballpark here at the K. It's been remodeled. They have the legacy seat from Buck O'Neil. Nice change up there. That honors people who are special around the community, that does community works. That's not done in any other ballpark because they weren't blessed to have Buck O'Neil here. Buck O'Neil was a great human being. And I'm telling you, that really enhances this ballpark by having that special seat for people.
And that's where he sat, right down there in the second row. Ball one to Escobar, hoping for his first hit of the year right here. 0 for 4 yesterday.
And it's never gotten a hit off of Danks. 0 for 11. And matter of fact, Royals are looking for their first knock of the game.
They've had 2 base runners. Aoki reached with a walk in the first inning, and then Perez reached on an error in the second. Long run for Abreu and for Nieto. And Nieto knows Abreu. Or did they combine for it?
Caught it between his legs. Tough play for both the catcher and the first baseman. Both Cuban born. Watch him. Watch where he comes up with this.
Yeah, they both got a piece of it.
Look what I found.
So 2 down to Aoki, and he slashes it foul. Hey, you mentioned Cuban born, and we know that Abreu defected from Cuba. That's where he grew up. Nieto, born in Cuba and then came over to the United States when he was 8. And as we mentioned, went to high school in Miami with Eric Hosmer. How about Eric Hosmer, Adrian Nieto, and Nick Castellanos, the rookie third baseman for the Tigers, all in that same time frame from the same high school. 2 balls, 1 strike on Aoki.
Hosmer got here a little bit sooner than his buddies. But that's always special when you compete at this level with guys that you knew growing up. But you know, you mentioned the defection side of the Cubans and the stories that are out there. It's just amazing. Each one of them has their own story.
De Aza brings it down in left field. So good pitching today. Bruce Chen, John Danks, both with 3 scoreless innings.
Prior to every Sunday home game on Signature Sundays, 2 Royal players will sign autographs on the top of the Royals dugout from 11:45 to 12:15. Every Sunday home game, autographs of 2 Royals players on top of the dugout. That's 11:45 to 12:15, weather permitting. Go to Royals.com/Sunday and be one of the lucky guys to get a signature or gals from 2 Royals players.
Ball 1-2, Jose Abreu, who singled in the first inning. He was 0 for 4, but did have an RBI in the game yesterday. He's already driven in 6. Got jammed. Moustakas, he'll throw from foul ground, show off his arm, and Hosmer helps him out with a pick.
Oh, man, loves to hear his name chanted by the crowd here at the K. Had time, got to the pretty quickly so he can plant his feet and load up that howitzer. That's right. That's a cannon. Nice dig by Hosmer, which makes it easier because the throw is low. So it makes an easier pick. 2 of those guys, cornerstones for the future. And good ones. Both could have gold. We already know Hosmer's got gold. Look at that. Soft hands. Just open up that glove and let the velocity on that ball land in it.
1-1 on Viciedo, and when he batted in the first inning, we showed you his inflated numbers against Bruce Chen, and then Bruce promptly carved him up, had him missing his changeup and his fastball, and ended up striking him out swinging on the fastball, and now ahead in this matchup, 1 ball 2 strikes. Tried to get him to chase the change. 2-2. And that'll drop into center field. So with half a bat, Viciedo has his first hit, and the White Sox have 1 on with 1 out. Don't forget, fans, it's time for you to tweet your photo using #RoyalsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Connor Gillespie takes outside for ball 1, and Bruce struck him out with a slider in the first inning. Same pitch. 1 ball 1 strike. Lined into right field, so back-to-back hits. Aoki gets to it quickly, and Viciedo will stop at second base.
There's a couple guys looking in a certain area. Gillespie, he waited for that breaking ball to come down in his spot.
As part of 4 straight strikeouts to end the first and begin the second, Paul Konerko is in the middle of that. Bruce got him with a changeup. That was Konerko's 50th career at bat against Bruce. And as we discussed when he batted in the second inning, talking about one of the most prolific hitters against the Royals in history. Well hit to left, but he hits it right to Alex. Viciedo and Gillespie back, 2 down. And now Bruce will get Alejandro De Aza, who is the fourth and final of the string of 4 straight strikeouts. And that was a strikeout with a fastball. De Aza was 0 for 4 yesterday. Oh and 1. Great pitch over the inside. 0-2 on De Aza.
Okay, 0-2 back in the day of baseball. Usually hitters would be on their heels because they were going to take a pitch and knock you off the plate. That was almost automatic. However, with the invention of the pitch count and everybody taking control of the pitches and counting them, they're not going to waste it. Usually 0-2 is a good waste pitch, like that one there. He tried to get him to swing out of the zone there. That was a good waste pitch. But a lot of times, pitchers don't want to waste that pitch, so come right in there.
Two and 2.
That's the whole idea of wanting to get ahead of the hitter. You kind of can tease him and try to let him hit your pitch, not his.
Boy, that's a tough pitch to lay off of. So tempting, just floating over the outside part of the plate. And De Aza has taken the count from 0-2 to 3-2. So Viciedo at second, Gillespie at first are running. Crack bat, back to Bruce on one hop. And that's the inning. 4 scoreless innings. And now the Royals coming up in the bottom of the 4th. Middle of the order coming up. Infante, Hosmer, Butler. If anybody gets on, Alex Gordon. Royals baseball is brought to you by Panera Bread, coming soon to College and King in Overland Park. Come in and check out our new menu items today. And by your Midwest Ford dealer. Visit us at yourmidwestforddealers.com. No score. And John Danks has 3 hitless innings. The Royals have had 2 base runners, thanks to a walk and an error. Omar Infante flied to center his first time up, and that's hit hard but pulled foul into the left field seats, and it's 0-2.
Both lefties just cruising today.
And hit well into left center field. There's the first hit. And De Aza makes a good play to hold Infante to a single. So leadoff man on. And now Eric Hosmer coming to the plate, and we go to Joel Goldberg.
Well, Ryan, you mentioned the friendship with Adrian Nieto, and Adrian telling me earlier today that his first big league start with Hosmer on the field, this is a dream come true for him, and it goes beyond just high school teammates. They were first teammates and became best friends when they were 9 years old, playing on a team called the Florida Mudcats. They were roommates or shared a house together in spring training. Hosmer, Nieto, and Dyson. And Nieto telling me that he thought about investing in some earplugs with Dyson in the same house, but he said he taught him a lot about some important things. Dyson taught him how to iron, and Dyson said, hey, I had to take care of the kid, show him the ropes a little bit. But Hosmer did say he is looking forward to, and he wanted me to pass this on to his buddy, seeing the expression when he steals his first bag off of his buddy.
Whoa, man, them's fighting words there. Oh, it's so good to play against your friends. And, the competition even turns up the heat when you're facing your buddies.
One and two. Danks made a good pitch on Hosmer in the first inning, cracked his bat, and Hosmer grounded into a double play. Otherwise, Hosmer has had excellent numbers against Danks. Got him to swing at a tough pitch up and in. Still 1 and 2. As we pointed out at the top of the broadcast, the Royals have never beaten John Danks. 6-0 in 13 career starts before today. And if you go back to his last start against the Royals, he has now thrown 12 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings, as that one start last year was 8 scoreless innings.
Oh, he gets in a groove. He's got nice rhythm out there. He's got the same rhythm today as he's had against these guys in the past. But all it takes is a well-placed ball here. Hosmer looking for an alley.
He's got Hosmer fighting for his life up there.
Yeah, you mentioned he broke his bat that first time up. I'll say he sawed him off. The head of that bat went back to the backstop.
And Danks, I remember when Mark Burley and Danks were pitching, you knew you were going to get quick games. He works very fast, and Hosmer trying to slow him down and get comfortable in the box. Look out. Whistled into the seats past third. Still 2 and 2.
This first at bat here, see the circle change? He circles the index and thumb, and then he throws it with the last 3 fingers on his hand. And there it was. The head of the bat went flying right by Billy Butler. You don't see many guys get jammed by a changeup.
Or break a bat on a changeup.
Yeah.
That's probably a bad bat, right?
Well, you know what? I think it was just so far inside. It was right off his hands that anytime you hit a ball with a bat at that point of the bat, that's its weakest point there. But he's battling him here in this at bat, chipping away, looking for and waiting for the mistake.
He has fouled off 5 in this at bat, and this is the 9th pitch from Danks to Hosmer. Now he's fouled off 6.
Adam Eaton, the center fielder, he's playing Hosmer to the off field, a little bit to the left center field gap, and that's given Hosmer a little bit of respect with what he's got to the opposite field, and he's pretty deep. Hosmer with great power that way.
Well, he got a pitch up, and he hits it into center field. And Infante is going to run on Eaton, who spikes his throw. And a throw back to first will not get Hosmer. Well, he didn't hit it very hard, but that was the most hittable pitch that he got. And he turns it into a base hit.
Okay, and Infante made a nice move to go to third base. This play is right in front of you as a runner. You can see that. So Infante said, you know what, you're playing deep. I can get to third and force the throw here by the time you can throw me out. So that's a challenge ball. I like it. With nobody out, good opportunity to get something going here. See, he makes up his mind. He's looking at the play. Doesn't need third base coach Dale Sweem to tell him to come on. Good heady play.
So after 10 pitches, Hosmer gets a single. And now Billy Butler with runners at first and third and nobody out. Ball one low. Billy popped out to first in the second inning. Still looking for his first RBI.
Okay, now he's going to look for an area, Billy is, and try to see it in that area and put a charge into one. Hosmer might get his chance sometime in this inning to steal a base. Of course, when you steal a bag, you're not stealing off the catcher Nieto. You're trying to get a jump off of Danks, the pitcher.
Base hit left field. The Royals take a 1-0 lead, and Billy Butler drives in his first.
And sometimes when a pitcher's dealing off of you and that first guy gets a base hit, everything seems to be contagious from there on after, and that's what we're seeing. 3 straight singles started by Infante, who scored. First run as a ball, he zoned him out over the plate and caught the top half, and fortunately found the hole and didn't ground into a double play. So good job, Billy. Hope you knock in 99 more this year.
So 2 on 2 out for Alex. 0 for 1 against Danks today. And that's hit foul into the seats off to the right field side as he had Alex reaching.
It's a little breaking ball. Alex tried to guide that in there.
Well, you get some firsts out of the way. Royals got their first win. Billy Butler just got his first RBI. The Royals are still looking for their first home run. 1 ball, 1 strike. And John Danks, we told you last year, had 14 losses. Bad run support, yes, but he will tell you on the Academy leaderboard that he gave up a lot of home runs. 28 home runs and 138 in a third innings. The second most per 9 innings pitched in the major leagues. Crack bat. And that ball will drop as Viciedo, with a tumbling attempt, came up short. And now Hosmer gets caught in between third and home.
Okay, Viciedo took a step back. Whenever a strong hitter like Gordon takes a full rip, that's a natural response. He took a step back, but he couldn't get in time to catch it. So the ball falls in. Hosmer, see him reading it. He's reading it, and he's rounding third a little bit too aggressively. As the cutoff by Abreu. See, he wasn't sure how to read that. So really just stay. Looked like some miscommunication there between Dale Sweem and Hosmer. That's a tough read there for the runner. Not sure if he's going to make the play or not, so you go halfway. But then once it drops, chances of you scoring are pretty slim. But Gillespie made a good pickup from Abreu's throw.
0-2 on Perez. If you like to score it, it's a single. And the out goes 8-3, 5-2.
If Gillespie doesn't pick that ball, Hosmer scores and so does Billy.
Out of play. Well, he certainly got a workout in, Hosmer did, that's for sure. There was about 27 changes of direction over that sequence. Just inside. Butler at second, Gordon at first.
Royals can do a lot better with runners in scoring position. Coming in just 5 for 32.
2-2. Salvador Perez last year second best in the league with runners in scoring position. And now he takes the count from 0-2 to 3-2. In Detroit, the Royals were 1 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Yesterday 4 for 16 and winning 7-5. A walk after falling behind 0-2. And now a huge opportunity for Mike Moustakas to get his first hit.
All right, looking back on that play at third base, Hosmer looked like he was slowing down, just able to take third base. Now, if you will watch Dale swim, look at swing. He's pointing home. Maybe he was saying watch it. I don't think he was waving him home. I think it was just miscommunication. So that's what messed up Hosmer there. But you saw the pickup by Gillespie.
Don Cooper, White Sox pitching coach, out to have a chat with Danks to see how he's feeling. That play we just showed you is the only out in the inning, so it was not an out recorded by Danks, it was an out recorded by the defense. So 5 straight have reached, and Danks has thrown 25 pitches in the inning. He got Mike Moustakas on a comebacker in the second inning. Down and away, ball 1. Two and 0.
Hey, now Moose can just relax and let the pitcher come to him. Let Danks give him his pitch. Just like Salvador Perez, heck, he wasn't trying to be the hero. He took his base. It wasn't a pitch that he felt like he could handle. Same situation here. Pressure's on Danks, not Moose.
Moustakas swung at the first pitch when he grounded out in the second inning, which kind of goes against the trend for him this year. Remember yesterday we were talking about how few bad pitches he has swung at, and it seems like every time he comes to the plate it is a long plate appearance, even though he doesn't have a hit yet. And in doing some research, he is seeing over 5 pitches per plate appearance on average. And if you look at his seasons prior to this year, the best he's ever done is 3.9. So he is seeing more pitches. And now he's going to get a 3-1 pitch, and he will walk with the bases loaded.
Just be a soldier, don't be a hero. That's exactly what Moose did, and Salvi before him. They took the walk. Moose dying to get his first base hit, but that's a very nice plate appearance. Now pass the baton on to Kane. Let Kane pick him up. And Rusty's telling him right here, freeze on a line drive and break up 2 if you can.
Four singles and 2 walks. And now Kane. And Danks struck him out in the 3rd inning.
Be ready for that first pitch. He wants strike 1 on him.
And it's a cutter inside for ball 1. That's the 31st pitch of the inning. And now Danks is at 70 for the game.
Wear him down.
One and one. Two hits, 2 RBIs for Lorenzo yesterday. And he's driven in 3 on the year. One and two. To Danks' credit, even though he's walked 2 and he hasn't recorded an out himself, that was probably the most hittable pitch he's thrown. He has really stayed on the corners. He gave Hosmer a bad time, but Hosmer ended up winning the battle with a single. The base hit he gave up to Billy was a ground ball through the hole. And Kane, fooled by a changeup after a fastball, strikes out, and that's Danks' second.
And both strikeouts to Lorenzo Kane. Looked like Lorenzo was trying to do a little too much, especially with the previous pitch. Pulled off.
And that takes us to another Royals hitter. Still looking for his first hit. Escobar fouled out to first in the 3rd inning on a play that was first deflected by the catcher Nieto, bobbled by Abreu, who ended up making the play up against his body. 35 pitches in the inning. Ball 1 to Escobar. Third baseman's rather deep. I'm just saying.
No, but you know, bases loaded, you're hoping that Escobar could swing and knock in a couple runs. But Escobar was peeking. He was looking around.
1 and 1.
Typically a manager would like to see the guy swing the bat in this situation here.
One and two. It all started with Omar Infante's single on an 0-2 pitch. Eric Hosmer had a 10-pitch at bat and singled. Butler drove in a run. Gordon singled. Perez was down 0-2 and walked. Moustakas walked, driving in a run. And then the strikeout against Kane got him looking. So Danks ends up striking out 3. The Royals were poised for a big inning. They do come up with 2. Butler and Moustakas with RBIs. And at the end of 4, the Royals lead 2-0.
There you go, Bruce. There's your 2 runs. saying all aboard if he can continue his mastery over this team today. He's been brilliant. Hitting his spots, changing speeds, adding and subtracting. It's been fun to watch.
All right, well, how about all aboard the Sprint Family plan? Everyone gets talk, text, and 1 gig of data for as low as $25 a month per line while on the Sprint network. The more people added, up to 10 total, the lower your rate. Plus, while you'll save as a team, all accounts can be billed individually. Hope that little guy, I imagine this would be his first Royals game, takes in a victory as the Royals have given Bruce a 2-0 lead with the 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up. Alexei Ramirez takes a strike. He lined out to center field in the second inning. In the last year of a long-term contract, Alexei Ramirez, another player from Cuba.
Don't the White Sox have 4 Cubans in their lineup today? Isn't
Abreu, yeah, Viciedo, Ramirez, and Nieto, who was born there. You know, we hear about all these stories about getting on a boat and being out at sea for several days. Ramirez defected on a trip to visit his wife's family in the Dominican Republic. She was there attending medical school. Moustakas will throw from his knees, so Ramirez runs well. Moustakas just couldn't quite get to his feet, and Ramirez ends up with an infield single. So I guess he pulled a fast one on the Cuban government. I'm just going to the Dominican Republic to see my wife. She's going to medical school. Okay, sure, go ahead. See ya.
Got an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yep. As opposed to the Brian Pena story, which we became so familiar with. 16 years old and away from Cuba with the national team and in a hotel and saying he needed to use the restroom and climbing out of a window and getting into a car with a guy he had never met before and driving to who knows where. That's how he defected.
Wow, crazy.
Yuniesky Betancourt on a boat for days at sea. People losing their lives as a result. Jose Hernandez, who won the Rookie of the Year last year for the Marlins, and his defection, his mom fell out of the boat and he had to jump in and save her from drowning.
So you movie makers out there, when are we going to see a movie titled The Defector?
Well, who do you pick? That's the question.
Well, any one of the stories. They could, you know, Hollywood has a great imagination. They can make up something or even read several of the stories of these guys. It would be a I'll say bestseller. It'll be a
big money maker. How about that?
Yeah, a blockbuster.
There you go, blockbuster. There you go.
Yeah, seriously, I'd watch it. Would you?
Sure. Nieto, and we told you that he defected when he was 8. He is a switch hitter, and part of his story is when his family came to Cuba, and hard workers, like a lot of families coming over from the island and escaping communism, at one point his mom and dad were working a combined 5 jobs, and one of the jobs, a parent was working at some batting cages, and so he could hit for free. He would just go hang out with his parents and hit all day, and that's when he learned how to switch hit. I guess you can only take so many swings as a kid and get bored, so well, maybe I'll try swinging from the other side of the plate. And that one's off of Moustakas' glove, and Ramirez will go first to third, and Nieto will go into second base.
All right, they'll be calling for the ball. That's his first big league knock off of Moose's glove. So there it is. Super Joe McEwen gets it into the bench, and then keep an eye on that. Look at it. There's a fake. Okay, they always mess with a rookie with the ball. They'll put it in secure hands. Are they going to give him an error? What is the official call here? Now, when you're ranging that far, you can't expect him to get it out. Now, however, Moose will tell you that he probably could have gloved it, but still tough play. Obviously, the bench thought it was a hit, and they were asking for the ball.
White Sox will get a run as Eaton does a good job with the infield back, hitting a ground ball up the middle. So Ramirez scores. Adam Eaton has his 5th RBI of the year, and Nieto goes to 3rd.
Okay, so it's an E5. It's ruled. So
you might want to mark that one in pencil.
There you go.
Unless the official score was factoring in that a catcher was running, and maybe, well, it was not a routine play for Mike Moustakas. He may have had a little extra time to plant his feet and throw. Still a tough error.
I'm going to say, can't assume that Moose is going to get it out on ranging that far in the hole as a third baseman. However, it's not an easy job being an official scorer.
Semien out on a good play by Escobar in the 1st inning, and then fouled out in the 3rd. And now the Royals bring the infield in. 1 ball and 1 strike. Right side all the way in, left side playing halfway. Backdoor slider, 1-2.
Tell you, Marcus Semien, he wants to seize the moment. Gordon Beckham, their everyday second baseman, he'll be coming back pretty soon with a rib strain. While you can, you got to do the job. Oof, just missed. And the Missouri Lottery Fox Track says that was off.
Very high in the air into the sunlight. Alex makes the play, and Nieto holds at 3rd. So an opportunity wasted there for Semien with a runner at 3rd and less than 2 outs. He flies out to left field. And now let's see what the Royals do with Jose Abreu. Abreu singled in the 1st inning and then lost a hit on a nice play by Moustakas at 3rd in inning number 4.
Brian, you love to school our audience on keeping score. And earlier in the game, there was a pretty interesting play. 2 Cuban guys going after it. The rookie, he had it in his glove, but then Abreu ends up with the final out. So if you're going to score that, give an assist to Nieto.
So however you like to put it in the scorebook, I would put an F for foul, F-2-3. Off the end of the bat, and it's 2-1. Remember, you can still secure your seats at Kauffman Stadium all spring and summer long with prorated season ticket packages for as little as $11 a game. So we want you in the stands for 2014 and hope you become a season ticket holder. For more information, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Three and one. That'll be in the seats. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Abreu.
Robin Ventura was telling me today that Abreu was working out this offseason, getting ready for his first rookie season with the White Sox out in Florida. And he gave a call to Robin and said, "Hey, Robin, can I come to Arizona?" Because apparently the workouts in Florida and the guys he was working with weren't working as hard as Abreu wanted to work. So Ventura says, sure. They flew him out to Arizona 3 weeks early, and he wanted to work harder. So that told them a lot about his work ethic.
Changeup struck him out. 6 strikeouts for Bruce Chen. White Sox end up with a run in the 5th, but Bruce prevents further damage.
Cambio outside corner. Got to go.
Stands right now an unearned run, and the top of the order coming up against Danks, and Aoki hits it up the right field line and down into the corner, and he will hold with a leadoff double on for the 2nd time today. And after going hitless in Detroit, he has been on base 6 times now in the first 2 games of this series.
Beautiful. First pitch, he zoned him. He says anywhere in that zone, and of course that's the middle of the plate. That's where you're looking. Got the bat head out, stuck it down that line. Thought he might go to third, but you know what? Better safe than sorry. Go ahead and just stay right where you are.
Let's welcome in Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery, and it was our plan before the inning started for us to talk about the effective changeups for Bruce Chen and John Danks today. That was a changeup, it appered, because Aoki was a little off balance, but that one caught too much of the plate.
Good changeup's going to finish off the plate. You don't want to be in that plate, like you said, Rex. Sometimes hitters will zone in, and if you get a changeup in the middle part of the strike zone, one of the easiest pitches to hit, because you really have to trick him if it's not executed with good location.
And there aren't many left-handers who throw changeups to left-hand batters, and not a lot of right-handers who throw changeups to right-hand batters because of the risk of what we just saw there, as Infante was trying to bunt to at least get Aoki over to third. 0-1. Let's look at their changeups, Monty.
Yeah, these are what we call circle changeups, and identical. I threw exactly the same changeup where you kind of get that ball back in your palm, and the hand and the grip is what does the subtraction of the velocity. If you execute that pitch with good arm speed, the same as your fastball, then that grip will almost keep that ball from coming out smoothly and easily and taking the velocity off of it.
That's a field pitch. How long does it take a guy to learn how to command that?
Well, it's a very difficult pitch to learn, and sometimes mentally it's difficult too, because as a youngster normally you're taught to throw hard, try to throw the ball past the hitter. You have to get confidence that changing the velocity and changing and disrupting the timing of the hitter will be effective. So a lot of guys take to it quickly, but it's a pitch I know with the very last pitch for me that I was able to master and able to command.
So if many little leaguers are out there listening to us today, Monty, are you going to tell him to slow his arm speed down just to change speeds, or are you going to have him work on that?
That ball is drilled and foul by a foot.
No, you don't want to slow the arm speed down, because as a hitter, Rex, you're going to read the arm speed of the pitcher. It doesn't matter what pitch you're throwing, you're reading that arm speed. So you have to be able to have the same arm speed on every pitch you throw. Fastball, curveball, changeup, slider, splitter, whatever you throw, arm speed is very important.
So how are you going to teach that pitch to a 12-year-old? It's learning how to change speeds without snapping the breaking ball.
Right. A changeup can be a great pitch for any pitcher, especially a youngster, that you don't have to start spinning the baseball until you're a little bit older, a little more mature, and you stay away from injury that way.
Aoki takes off for third, and he is safe. That's a big play, because Infante was trying to get him to third. He strikes out, but the runner advances anyway. And that makes the Royals 6 for 6 in stolen base attempts. And Robin Ventura is going to go out and chat about that with third base umpire Will Little.
You like to get a walking lead when you're stealing second. It's hard to do at first base. Aoki looked like he was a little bit stationary. Let's see on this play here. Yep, they can replay that if they want, but they would lose because he was safe. Nonetheless, a stolen bag is a beautiful thing right there.
Our Toyota League leaders, most stolen bases since 2010. So we're going back a few years here. Only the San Diego Padres have more stolen bases during that time. The Royals have the most in the American League and led the league last year with 153 stolen bases. And now the White Sox will bring the infield in for Hosmer and Aoki at third base. Ball one inside. And if we get a moment here, we'll get Monty. Why don't you grab the baseball, Monty? And so circle change. I'm sure fans, kids have heard circle change, but why is it called a circle change?
Well, we're going to go with the OK sign, and that's the circle. You're going to put it on the baseball, and that's, again, you're going to grip back into your palm of your hand, and when you throw that baseball, the grip is going to do all of the work for you. So when you're going here, throw the pitch, you want to stay on top of the pitch. When you come through, the ball comes out of this side of the hand, as opposed to on the fastball, it's going to come off these two fingers with much less resistance.
And the circle part of it is just where the thumb and the index finger.
Right. A lot of times people call that the OK changeup too, because you're giving that OK sign when you kind of grip that baseball back in the palm.
Three 3-0. Hud.
Okay. So if you're a hitter and you're trying to guess if a guy's got a good changeup, you look at his glove, and when you're fanning it, most left-handers face a lot of righties. So when you're going in for that grip in your glove, okay, your glove's got to be a little bit wider to go in for that. Fastball, it's narrow. So you can see the pitcher's glove go narrow. You can guess fastball. When it fans out, they call that a fanner. That means he's going to throw that changeup. You can sit on that pitch. Believe me, hitters are looking for those kind of things.
4 walks now allowed by Danks. And first and third for Billy Butler, who singled last inning to pick up his first RBI of the year, and then he came around to score. And hit hard to center field. Eaton started in and then had to adjust. It turned into a difficult play for him, and now Billy is driven in 2 today, and the Royals get the run back that Chicago scored in the top half of this inning.
Oh, what a nice catch by Eaton after misjudging that liner. Toughest ball for a center fielder. That line drive directly over your head. Do you come in? Do you go back? Well, if you have good speed and good agility, you can make that adjustment. See, you started in 2 full steps, went back. Aoki properly went back and tagged. and Billy got him his second ribby. Good adjustment.
Hey, Hud, just to add to your point about the pitcher fanning his glove, Monty, I remember, and this guy just stands out there, many others, when Brian Bannister was here, he would purposely fan his glove for every pitch so that there was no movement, whether he was throwing a fastball, curveball, changeup. He would widen that glove as wide as he could.
Certain players on each team are very, very good at picking up small things like that during the course of the game to get their teammates advantages. So Brian Bannister kind of working the other way so that he doesn't give them that opportunity.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that cat and mouse going on. Let's check it out. Let's see Bruce how he's working it in his glove. The smart pitchers will try to keep their glove the same every time. Keep the hitter off of the pitch. Example, I'm with the Montreal Expos. Greg Nettles, Tim Wallach, guys that studied pitchers. I'm in the on-deck circle getting a pinch hit off John Franco. Had a great changeup. They said, hey, Hud, he's fanning. Look for the fanner. So Franco went wide, ball one. Wide, ball two. Narrow, 3-run homer, pinch hit in the ninth. Bam, got him. Just on that little thing right there got me paid. I love him. Love my teammates.
We call that the best play in baseball, 3-run homer.
Believe it, especially late off of that guy. Christmas came early for me, but that's what I'm talking about. Little things like that you can pick up.
Another one, too, you hear about is a pitcher who leaves his index finger outside of his glove. And, you know, the index finger might stick straight up if he's throwing a certain pitch. It might be flush against the glove for another pitch. So then you get guys that say, you know what, I'm not even going to go there. I'm just going to put all the fingers inside of the glove.
Or sew a patch over their finger.
One hop to Abreu. He'll go to the bag to end the inning. Nori Aoki on base for the second time today. Both times leading off the inning. In this inning, a leadoff double, and he comes around to score on Billy Butler's sac fly.
Field, his second ever game at Kauffman Stadium. Joel Goldberg here in right field over by the White Sox bullpen, and talked to Nori a little bit. He said he was really excited just to get that first hit out of the way yesterday. He said can't get that second hit without the first hit. Also said that he really likes the stadium a lot, his first time here yesterday playing. Now, as for that error, I asked him what happened on that, and he said he got a little bit tricked by the wind, thought the wind was going one way, it swirled the other. All I can tell you guys is this, and he said now he'll adjust to that. I walked in with Adam Dunn this morning, and I said, Adam, that wind looked like it was blowing out to right field yesterday. I thought you might be able to hit one out to the highway, and he said, I thought so too, and I got out to batting practice, and that wasn't the case. It was swirling. we, Ryan, know how the wind can go here. Nori Aoki will be learning that too. And speaking of weather conditions, he seemed to be adjusting very well to some very light Spanish music playing in the clubhouse this morning. Was nice and relaxed and seemed to be enjoying it, even if he didn't understand it, the language. And he said, guys, I said, what do you think of the music? And he said, I feel like I am on a nice, warm island right now, relaxing.
Well, compared to yesterday, it feels like a nice, warm island out there. But hey, a good beat is a good beat, right? Whether you understand the words or not.
Got to have it.
1-2 on Viciedo. He is singled and struck out today against Bruce. Popped up on a changeup away. And Hosmer fighting the sun a bit. He'll bring it down for the out. Final game of this series is tomorrow, and a great pitching matchup of James Shields and Chris Sale at 1:10. And don't forget, Sunday afternoons are made for the family. Kids will enjoy face painters. Hey, maybe the adults will enjoy face painters too. Balloon artists and a high energy performance by School of Rock at the Outfield Experience. And then the kids can run the bases after the game. Sunday Family Fun Day is your family destination tomorrow at 1:10. Tickets at royals.com/Sunday. Bruce Chen getting it out on a changeup with that pop up and off speed again, 66 miles an hour. So that pitch hardly made it to home plate. And another pop up. With all of the advanced research these days, we have two of the best in the game today as far as getting outs with the changeup. Last year, opponent's batting average against Bruce Chen, when they put his changeup in play, 158. That was third best in the league. John Danks, when the league put his changeup in play, hit just 195, and that was ninth best in the league.
Right, a lot of times, second, third time through the order, it seems like the hitters get the advantage. But I think it works the other way around with a guy like Chen. The more you see him, the more difficult it is, because he has a chance to really feature all those pitches that help make him effective.
0-2 on Konerko, who has struck out and flied to left. There's Bruce beating up that bubble gum. And last inning we were talking about tipping your pitches, and that was a problem for Bruce, which has led to the bubble gum.
That's exactly right. I said, Bruce, man, I watch you chew that gum. That's amazing how you chomp that thing. What's up with that? And he said, I was tipping my pitches. What do you mean? I was sticking my tongue out on a certain pitch, and guys got to know that I was sticking my tongue out on a breaking ball, so they were spitting on it. They weren't swinging at it. So finally the word got back to me. Now, once you have the skinny on a guy, and you have him, and you got his pitches, and you really got him, you don't tell too many people because the word gets out. And then once the pitcher hears that, he stops doing it. In the meantime, you're making a good living off it.
Well, then maybe one of those players ends up becoming a Royal and says, hey, by the way, when we were with
that's what happened.
The Orioles,
you were doing this and we had you.
That reminds me, we had a catcher here, Pat Borders, who'd come over from the Blue Jays, and he told me in spring training, he goes, we had a book on you in Toronto, you were doing something, and I know he knew what it was, but he would never tell me because he's afraid at some point I'm going to have to face him again.
Oh, he really? He wouldn't
He wouldn't tell me.
Your own catcher?
My own catcher.
Wow.
That's hard.
But Monty, you were sharing with us in between innings here that you did something to try and throw the hitter off and maybe not key in on something specific.
Right, I did. When I would be getting a sign from the catcher, oftentimes, and probably more than half the time, I would shake no before my catcher would even put a sign down to essentially try to disrupt the hitter so he wasn't thinking, okay, you know, if he's not shaking at all, it's probably going to be a fastball. So I really tried to get it in his mind.
Oh, like Bruce is on the White Sox today. He's deep in their mind. Polly, Ted knows, and Bruce knows that you got to go.
Giesler from Olathe. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Jake wins $400, a grand slam out of the park, and Jake wins $25 grand from Sonic and the Royals. Royals have not hit a home run yet this year. Sal has been on twice with a walk in the 4th inning and then on an error in the 2nd. No balls, 2 strikes.
Good changeups make hitters look like that.
I'm sure there's a book on Sal, Monty, but he can also be a very good bad ball hitter. How do you pitch to a good bad ball hitter?
Well, if you're going to expand the plate, which is exactly what a pitcher wants to be in a position to do, is expand the plate. You want to maybe go off the plate, but you've got to go off more with a guy like Salvador Perez, because he has that extension. He can get out and get that pitch that's 6, 7, 8 inches off the plate. So you better go a foot off the plate if you want to really get him. But the only way to be able to do that is command both sides of the plate. You have to come in as well as away, because if you keep going away, eventually he's going to lean out there and he's going to get you.
Okay, I agree with that, but sometimes a guy that's bad ball, I'm going to throw him right here. Right down the middle. I'm going to take my chances with him and see what he does, because when you try to trick a guy that's a bad ball hitter, sometimes he's just going to accidentally, when he has good hands like Salvi, he's just going to go ahead and flare something out there.
Yep. Another guy who was a lot like that was former Sox manager Ozzie Guillen. You could throw a pitch neck high and trying to climb the ladder, and he's going to tomahawk it in the left field. He had a way of doing that.
Right. Strange game. Ooh, nice job, Danks. Man, he's looking good today. His team just can't figure out Bruce. There it is, and I'll tell you, that's the equalizing pitch to me of a pitcher. I used to think a hard sinker was a tough one for a hitter, but really, when you have a decent fastball and you got a great changeup, that changeup makes the fastball. Would you agree with that?
Well, the changeup can be the best pitch in baseball, because you really think you're not overexerting yourself. You're not going to really hurt yourself from a physical standpoint, so you're not going to worry about the injury as much. If you can command the changeup, it makes every pitch that much better.
98 pitches for Danks as he throws strike 1 to Moustakas, who walked with the bases loaded in the 4th inning and then grounded out to Danks in the 2nd, and now here trying to slow Danks down. And Danks jumps ahead 0-2.
You know, we're talking an awful lot about these really great changeups, but tomorrow are we in for a treat? I mean, we're going to see a right-hander with one of the filthiest changeups on the planet.
Now back-to-back strikeouts for Danks, and now all of a sudden he has 6 strikeouts, 2 down in the 6th.
Good look at James Shields' changeup. A little different grip for him. He really almost like he puts those middle 2 fingers on top of the ball. But the thing about his changeup, it has depth. A lot of guys add and subtract where the changeup's going to be effective because of change in velocity. His ball almost bottoms out, so he's got that depth that almost looks like a slider at times, I think, when he throws that changeup, where it goes from top to bottom much more than most guys' changeups.
And that's why Jeremy Guthrie, his teammate, nicknamed him this year the Great Cambino. Cambrio. Cambio means changeup in Spanish.
1-1 to Kane. 1-2 to Kane. Remember how we were talking about how many outs that Chen and Danks had last year with their changeup? Well, James Shields had 86 strikeouts with his changeup. That was the 2nd most in the league. And he has the kind of changeup that he can throw to righties and lefties with the same effect. Because as you said, Monty, his doesn't drift like some would, maybe back into a right-hand batter. Two hops out to Gillespie, on the money to Abreu, and that's it for the Royals. 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Bruce Chen on a roll, and the Royals lead 3-1 as we head to the 7th. 5 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts. He's moving close to a career high.
Yeah, it's great to see him kind of pick up where he left off last year. He joined the rotation mid-season to really kind of pick things up for that rotation, finished up strong, and here he is today, right back where he started.
What a thing of beauty when Bruce is on. And as Dave Island says, when Bruce is being Bruce, it can be a beautiful thing.
Academy Sports showing you Bruce's line for the day as he begins the 7th inning. And it was a great offseason for Bruce as he was married to Mary, who is from this area. And Bruce, while he was with the Royals, established his full-time residence in Surprise, Arizona. So he was thrilled for many reasons to return to the Royals. The Royals are happy to have him back. He can spend spring training in his house, spend the regular season with the Royals. Wife is close to the family. And that decision to come back looks even better today with the way he has carved up the White Sox so far.
I think it looks great. I'm just curious if he was chewing gum on his wedding day.
If he was nervous, yeah.
How about Gordo going over and handing that fan the baseball? Oh, she's fired up.
That's how you make a fan for life, right?
Oh, every day you got a chance to make memories. Watch this. He didn't flip it to him. He handed it to him. Oh. Look at that. He's looking around. He wants to say, did everybody see that? Oh, man.
Tough hop. And Bruce just gets to the bag in front of De Aza, who's 0 for 3.
Wow. Talk about hands. This first baseman, he's got beautiful hands. They're soft, money.
Pitch to your defense. Royals pitcher done a nice job at that.
And now Bruce will pitch to Alexei Ramirez, who has scored the Chicago run after reaching on an infield single in the 5th inning. By the way, remember all the talk we were having about the number of Cuban-born players in the White Sox lineup? Our associate producer Dave Holtzman doing some exhaustive research. 4 in the lineup for the White Sox today, and that's the first time the White Sox have ever had that many Cuban-born players. So the next question is, when was the last time any team had 4 Cuban-born players in the lineup? And you'd have to go back to the first year of the Royals, 1969. Look at that play. Safe at first, but it was fun to watch anyway. The 1969 Cleveland Indians. That was the last time a major league team had 4 Cuban-born players in the lineup.
Who were those guys?
Jose Cardinal, Zoyo Versalles, who was better known as a Minnesota Twins player, Louis Tiant, and boy, I'm really going to be stretching here for the pronunciation of the 4th one, Joe Azcue. That guy.
Let it go, Holtzy. Way to pull that up out of the archive for us.
Chevy call to the bullpen. Aaron Crow out. Aaron Crow in. Bruce Chen out to a well-deserved standing ovation. Bruce Chen. 6 1/3 innings, 1 run allowed.
Yeah, just the way he's throwing the ball today, total command. We talked a lot about a changeup, but his other pitches were on too. He got a lot of pitches, and that got a lot of outs on that breaking ball. But more than anything, just around the plate all day long. Gotta love what you see.
And how about that? He really, you talk about him mixing his pitches all day, and he really not only mixed his pitches, but mixed them effectively without spread out evenly amongst his 4 pitches. So Aaron Crow and Adrian Nieto will move over to the left side of the plate. Crow pitched 2/3 of an inning yesterday, getting the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. Then Wade Davis pitched the 8th, Greg Holland the 9th in a 7-5 win. Off of Crow's leg, and the Royals still get the out.
And Nieto still doesn't have a big league hit yet. Leaving his bat, he probably was thinking, all right, that's going to get by the pitcher, and that got me a big league knock. Not going to happen. Crow's backside got in the way. It's good focus on Crow to pick that thing up on the roll and able to get the out.
Most important thing there is just to remain calm. Don't try to panic, and you have a lot of time. You always have a lot more time than you really think you have. So like you say, Rex, just pick it up smoothly, get the ball to first base.
So Ramirez at second with 2 down. Adam Eaton bats for the first time, or the 4th time rather, first time against Crow. And high for ball 1. Eaton drove in a run with a ground out in the 5th inning and singled back in the 1st. Two and 0. Two and 1. We had Missouri Governor Jay Nixon in the booth yesterday, and quick to rattle off the former MU Tigers. There are some of them there in the big leagues, and we had 3 of them in Detroit with Aaron Crow, Max Scherzer, and Ian Kinsler. Aaron was the first former MU pitcher to pitch in a game for the Royals when he made his big league debut back in 2011. And of course, he has both sides of the state line covered, as he grew up as a Royals fan in Wakarusa, Kansas, near Topeka, and then spent his college days in Missouri. That looked like a swing, and it was. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Ryan, does Adam Eaton remind you at all of Johnny Damon?
With the movement in the batter's box?
Movement, the way he plays the outfield, he dives for a lot of things. I saw that throw he made earlier in the game. Not much of an arm, but just all out every play.
Out to Escobar, and Eaton, who runs fast, runs hard, is out. Aaron Crow gets the job done. He inherits a runner, strands that runner, and we head to the bottom of the 7th. The Royals still in front, 3-1.
coming up or clients coming to town. Ticketsforless.com can get your group within the first 10 rows behind the dugout or even all together in the front row of the crown seats. Check out Ticketsforless.com for all your Royals tickets. A great place to celebrate a birthday. See there you go. Well, what kind of birthday treatment is that? I'll take care of her on her 4th birthday. Hey guys, here's one for you in the booth. As about that almost for Alcides Escobar. Bruce Chen, 219th career start and only the 3rd time in his career that he has had at least 7 strikeouts and no walks.
All right, thank you, Joel. His career high, Bruce's career high is 9. So just 2 shy of that. As Aoki bats with 1 down in the 7th inning, and a curveball is inside. Aoki walked in the 1st inning, doubled and scored, and picked up his first stolen base in the 5th. And that was a big stolen base because he opened the inning with a double. Infante struck out, and then Aoki stole 3rd on the same play. So if he doesn't steal 3rd, then you have runners at 1st and 2nd. When Billy hits the fly ball to center field, nobody scores. But by getting to 3rd, he was able to come home on Billy's 2nd RBI of the day. And now he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Yordano Ventura, along with Wade Davis, getting ready for the 8th inning, as Abreu smothers it and goes to the bag for the 2nd out.
I would say there's a good chance that Yordano is getting his work in preparation for his start coming up on Tuesday.
And maybe would come in here if the Royals scored 5 runs and it's a big lead, and let him get in there and throw to some big league hitters.
Yeah, he's not even toeing the slab.
Isn't that what a manager does sometimes, Monty, in a situation like this? Okay, get my regular guy ready, but just in case we have a big inning, have somebody else playing catch. Because you don't, Royals score 5 here, you don't want to use Wade Davis, right? You want to save him for tomorrow.
Right.
So the different terms used to warm guys up. You got what? Halfway, hot.
Get them hot.
Which means game ready.
Sometimes it's get hot, then hold. So you're ready to go. You can be in there and really for the next batter.
Simeon fighting the glare, makes the play. So Danks down 3-1. He has retired the last 8 Royals, and we go to the 8th. Royals lead 3-1. Find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. And by Academy Sports, right stuff, low price every day. Sun has been out all day and very little wind, and the wind that is here is out of the south, so not the frigid wind out of the north that we had yesterday. Chevy called to the bullpen. Wade Davis for a second straight game, trying to nail down the 8th and be the bridge to Greg Holland. With a scoreless 8th inning yesterday, Davis also had 2 strikeouts. One of those against Marcus Semien, who leads off, and a hard breaking ball's in for a strike.
How about a get me over curve? Sometimes you throw that strike one, why not throw it again?
So he does.
That one was even better. Got a good fastball, little slider. 3 times in a row. See how he just threw strike one over the middle, then he went a little further away, and then that one was even off the plate. That's what they do to hitters. They try to tease you.
And into left field. So 4 straight, and Semien got a good swing on that one, and he's on to begin the 8th inning. Well, let's take a look at Wade Davis yesterday. He's our Kansas City Honda dealers MTP most trusted player.
And why not? Going right at those White Sox yesterday. Impressive. And that just set up Greg Holland, who came in throwing darts himself. Beautiful job of work.
Yesterday, Davis had the 8, 9, 1, and 2 hitters. Today, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Fastball at 93 for strike 1.
Some pretty nice movement on that one. Moving down and in. Got to keep her down. This guy's a beast. Let him get a hold of one here.
First inning single to left field, 1 for 3, 1 for 7 in the series. Threw it by him. A wicked swing by Abreu, who is not homered yet. No balls, 2 strikes. Semien runs, and Abreu fouls it away. Semien back in time. Semien played in 21 games for the White Sox last year and had just 2 stolen bases. He's also thrown out 2 times. White Sox were a middle of the pack team in that category a year ago. Just outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Okay, that's where Salvi wanted it. Off the plate. Nothing too good when you're ahead in the count. Okay, watch for a pickoff move here.
Close.
Okay, quick feet. Good throw for Hosmer to apply the tag. Just couldn't quite hang on. I don't think they'd have got him had he held on.
Blocked by Sal. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wade Davis inheriting the 8th inning role once the Royals found out that Luke Hochevar would not be available this year because of Tommy John surgery. Luke is back in Kansas City doing his rehab here and figures to be in Kansas City for the entire summer. Good to see him in very good spirits, all things considered. And as he put it in spring training, he wants to be here for that dog pile on the field when the Royals clinch a trip to the playoffs. That's more painful for the Royals than it is for Abreu, as he takes one off the elbow, and now Chicago has 2 on with nobody out in a 2-run game.
He didn't do much to get out of the way of that, but not much you can do when the ball's rushing up there so quickly. But he's a big guy. He turned in, got him on the arm.
And now Diane Viciedo.
I don't think you're going to be asking him to bunt and move the runners over. He's got a little pop. Davis wants to keep the ball down and entice him into rolling over to that lane ball. They call a double play.
One for 3 today, and Viciedo is 2 out of 7 in the past against Davis. Down and away, ball 1. And now 2 balls, no strikes. As far as lane balls go, Viciedo grounded into 11 last year. Remember, you can vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com/Royals, and you'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. Simeon singled, Abreu hit by a pitch, and now 2-0 on Viciedo. Out of play, 2-1.
Nice crowd on a chilly but sunny Saturday afternoon. Second game of the season here at the K. Beautiful crowd.
21,463 to be exact.
Tempo is slowing down big time here.
Tried to get him to chase at 95, 3-1. Royals had the best bullpen ERA last year in the American League, and it was a team record 2.55 bullpen ERA. They set a team record for saves and for holds. That's a statistic for the relievers doing their job in the innings leading up to a save. 85 holds for the Royals last year. That's what Davis is trying to do here. And that is ball 4 to load the bases with nobody out.
Okay, not by much. And when you've been a little bit wild, the umpire is not going to go out of his way to give you a strike.
Which is different from other levels of baseball. I don't know about the minor leagues, but college, high school, little league, you know, when a guy's struggling out there, the umpire will do the exact opposite. Well, let's help the guy out. I mean, gosh, he's having trouble out there. That's close enough. That's a strike. At this level, it's the opposite. If a pitcher's all over the place, well, then he's not going to get that inch or two off the edges of the plate.
Collins getting loose.
So bases loaded, nobody out. Connor Gillespie 1 for 3 today with a 4th inning single and 1 for 5 against Wade Davis.
Infield at double play depth. Anything at him, they're going to turn to. They'll give him the run.
So he goes with the breaking ball. That's a pitch that he was commanding very well at the beginning of the inning to Simeon. And remember, he threw 4 straight. The 4th one stayed up, and Simeon singled to left. Line to center field. Kane will have to play it on a bounce. And now it's a 1-run game with everybody moving up 90 feet. Gillespie drives in his 2nd of the year. And that gets the White Sox to Paul Konerko. 0 for 3 today. All 3 of those at bats against Bruce Chen. Big time numbers against the Royals. All players career against KC. Nobody has played more games. Nobody has driven in more runs. And only 2 more have hit more home runs against the Royals. Those 2 would be Jim Thome and Alex Rodriguez. A single, a hit batter, a walk, and another single. And back to that slider, or maybe a cutter. That's 92 miles an hour, but that had some teeth to it.
It sure did, and that's the right pitch there. Konerko knows bases loaded. That first pitch is usually the best one. He needs a strikeout.
Center field, Kane fighting the sun. Really fighting the sun. Aoki has to come over and help him out. And Abreu will tag and score to tie the game.
Well, you could really see Lorenzo Cain struggling so much to where he looked at for Aoki, pointed to him, said, "You take it. I can't see it." Aoki was right there. But it's a tie game. You could see him. He's saying, "Take it." That's good communication there. Aoki was on it, had a better angle out of the sun.
And it's a heads-up play on Aoki's part, because that ball, it wasn't really even in right center. I mean, it was to the right of straightaway center field. There are many right fielders on a ball like that who might just kind of jog in that direction. But when it was hit, Aoki almost seemed as if he was anticipating that might give Kane some trouble, and there he was. So first and second, one out, and that pitch crossed up Salvador Perez. He was not expecting a fastball. So they're going to talk things over and make sure they're on the same page.
It looked like a changeup. Salvi wasn't looking for it. At least he was able to keep the double play in order by knocking it down. Runners advance there. Some trouble.
Got the high strike, and it's 1-1 on De Aza. 0 for 3 today, 0 for 7 in the series. Last time up, lost a hit on a play by Hosmer. Nice play sliding to keep the ball out of right field in the 7th inning. Very close to being a swing, and it was. 1-2 on appeal to third base umpire Will Little.
Nice job by Salvador Perez keeping that ball in front.
You mentioned tempo, and that was something that would come up quite a bit for Wade Davis when he was a starter for the Royals. When he was right, it just seemed like he had a quick tempo, and on days where he didn't have his best stuff, it was a slower tempo, and now a slider strikes out De Aza, and that's 2 down in the 8th inning.
Had the right pitch there. Took a little bit off. Was able to get the ball by De Aza. You're right. Tempo's a lot, man. I'm telling you. Hitters can feed off of that. Guy takes his time there. Hitters are going, oh, he's not real sure about himself. But hopefully he's sure on this batter and keeps it tight here. Royals would be in the meat of their order. Bottom half, Hosmer, Butler, Gordon. Take care of Alexei Ramirez.
Inside for ball 1. 2 hits for Ramirez today, both infield hits, and a run scored. Scott Downs warming up. Danks has thrown 115 pitches. And Hudge just told you about the left-hand batters coming up, so it looks like we'll see Downs. Line to right. Aoki was shallow, and he runs it down and goes into a slide. So 2 heads-up plays by Aoki in the inning. It could have been worse. But the White Sox, with the help of a hit batter and a walk, come up with 2 in the 8th.
Oh, everybody can exhale now. Oh.
Look at some other action from around the league as Panera takes us around the league. Minnesota, Jason Kubel, the former and now again Twin, with a big day. The Yankees trailing R.A. Dickey and the Blue Jays. That one is now final 4-0. Detroit just beats Baltimore 7-6. Huge day from Torrey Hunter, 5 RBIs. And the Mets on a walk-off grand slam. That will be kind of Justin Maxwell style. They win at Cincinnati. Mazda game break. A congratulations on that Twins victory to that man, Ron Gardenhire, with his 1,000th career victory. That coming over Cleveland. And definitely big congrats to one of the well-liked guys in the game. Brian Hutton.
Well, you're right about that. It is always a treat when we get a chance to visit with Ron Gardenhire.
Yeah, congratulations, Gardy.
So it is Scott Downs for the bottom of the 8th inning. He appeared yesterday in the Royals' 7-5 win and pitched the same inning, the bottom of the 8th. Allowed a single, also issued an intentional walk, but it was a scoreless 8th inning. And today is his 3rd appearance of the year.
Okay, he's going to try to get ahead of these left-handed hitters. He wants to get ahead and finish him off with a big curveball. That's what he's got.
And he came on to face the same sequence of hitters. He got Hosmer to fly out to left. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So that makes Eric 1 for 7 against the veteran Scott Downs. We got to the big leagues for the first time in 2000. Turned 38 last month. That's one that really stings for a hitter. You chase one out of the strike zone and then take one in the strike zone.
He's their left-handed specialist, and a nice job there. Hey fans, it's time now for you to tweet your photo using #RoyalsFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT.
So Downs and Billy Butler. Billy has 2 RBIs today. Breaking ball is high and away. Billy with a single in the 4th inning. Drove in Omar Infante. And then with a sac fly in the 5th inning, scored Nori Aoki. 2-0.
Downs 2 breaking balls in a row, keeping it away from Billy as the flags show it blowing out to left field. Let's see. Billy can get one up.
He singled against Downs yesterday, and he is homered against Downs. Outside in the count, 3-0.
And Downs remembers that. That's why he's keeping everything away from Billy.
Four-pitch walk.
Yep. Want no part of it.
So he'll take his chances with Alex Gordon. And when Billy singled in the 8th inning yesterday against Downs, Gerard Dyson ran for him, and Ned Yost will do the same thing in the 8th inning today. Dyson ended up stealing a base. Yesterday, Dyson's stolen base was for some insurance as the Royals had a 2-run lead. It takes on a little more importance today with a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 8th. Downs, I remember yesterday, he showed Dyson a couple of moves, including that step off snap move, which almost picked him off.
And you can expect the same here. That's why it's important to have a guy that can steal bases on your bench to come off and late in the game, just like this situation here. Alex hit 8 home runs off of lefties last year.
Dyson runs, Pitch is a strike, and Dyson is out at second base. Now the Royals, and watching the dugout, Don Wakamatsu, who is part of the communications with replay, as soon as the play or the out was recorded, Wakamatsu immediately left his position on the Royals bench to go get on the phone, as Ned Yost will take his time and go out and chat with second base umpire Paul Schreiber. And Ned has positioned himself so that he can see the Royals dugout, and I saw somebody in the Royals dugout with a thumbs down, meaning the replay would indicate that Dyson was out.
Got him. You know, really tip your hat to Adrian Nieto. Doesn't have a right over the top from your ear type throw. He dropped down sidearm, but it was on the perfect side of that bag. So having his rookie start today, Nieto, who hasn't gotten a big league hit, thrown out one of the best base stealers in the American League.
And Nieto got a little bit of help in that Dyson went on something very close to a slide step. Downs was pretty close, or very quick to the plate. It's not as if he, hung up that right leg for a long time, giving Dyson a good jump. Dyson had a good read, but he didn't have a lot of time to work with.
This is going to be a situation that happens regularly during the season here, with Billy Butler hitting ahead of Alex Gordon. Whenever he gets on first base, they're going to pinch run for him a lot. Good takeaway, good jump. This is an excellent throw. And Nieto's like, wow, that feels good to throw out a big league runner. So Alex knows that he's going to get a lot of fastballs when Dyson goes out to pinch run for him, because that's the ball that gets to home quickest to cut down the time for Dyson to steal. So instead of taking that pitch, one of these days Alex is going to say, you know what, I'm going to swing at it instead of taking it for Dyson and hit a homer. So that situation is going to happen a lot to Alex this year.
He started and did not go. 2-2. Alex grounded to short yesterday against Downs. That makes him 1 for 6 against the lefty, but the one hit was a home run. Deep right center field, long run Eaton, and it will stay in the ballpark, but it puts the go-ahead run in scoring position. Now how big is that caught stealing?
It's large. So I don't think Robin Ventura is going to let Downs stay in for this one. This was all hands right here. Alex Gordon just using his hands. Ball's inside. Didn't really get all of it on the barrel. It kind of got in on him some, jammed him. Not in a big way, but if he barrels that, he hits a homer. Good enough, though, to hit a double and to get in the scoring position for Salvador Perez, Mr. Clutch.
Michael Clado, who is in spring training for the Royals for part of this year, will come on to face Salvador Perez. coming up against a right-hander with the go-ahead run at second base and 2 down. And Salvador last year was the second best clutch hitter in the American League. Follow the Royals with the MLB.com at-bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. You'll get scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Just text at-bat to 31826 or visit Royals.com for details.
I'll say, look, this is the right guy in the right spot. And Robin Ventura says, okay, I'm going to bring in my guy who can throw hard. But Salvador Perez, they don't come with a more clutch bat. Only one guy in the American League had more clutch hits than Salvi. And he's the highest paid athlete in the world, Miguel Cabrera. Salvador Perez is the right man. This kid here throws hard. Plato, he can get up to 100. Fastball, slider, changeup.
Plato was in spring training with the Royals briefly and placed on waivers. The White Sox claimed him. That is a fair ball down into the left field corner. So he was clutch last year, and he is clutch this year. The Royals take a 4-3 lead in the 8th.
Alex Gordon got it started with a nice double off a lefty. Salvador Perez follows him, knocks him in, past the baton. They got the lead. Love the passion of this young man. He plays the game of the exuberance of a 16-year-old. He's unbelievable. It's contagious. He's got energy.
And now inside, almost hit Moustakas, and that gets Perez over to third. And the Moose calls were quite evident, and they're still being heard now, as I think the fans are trying to get behind Mike Moustakas, who's 0 for 14, give him a little extra, and this would be a good time for his first hit of the season.
Heck yeah, right now Moose is saying anytime, but a little go ahead knock would be a beautiful thing. And you know, really, this is the kind of guy Moose wants. He wants a guy that throws hard, challenges him, and that he doesn't have to swing hard. He can just put a nice, easy swing on it. And pick up Wade Davis.
With the sun in his eyes, the sunglasses on, De Aza brings it down in left field. With 2 outs and nobody on, the Royals get back-to-back doubles. Alex Gordon against Scott Downs. Robin Ventura brings Michael Plato in to face Salvador Perez. He doubles, and the Royals regain the lead.
look for their 2-0 start here at Kauffman Stadium, and Greg Holland will try to close things out. Joel Goldberg, Jeff Montgomery coming up with that postgame show. We'll break down Bruce Chen's phenomenal performance and take a look at the excitement late in this game. And hey, it won't happen on our side, but Ryan Rex, I'm thinking in Chicago, they may be wondering why not leave Downs in, pitch around the clutch Salvador Perez, and go after Mike Moustakas. Perez makes him pay.
Well, Joel, I asked Hud that very same question. And to add to Joel's point, do you want to bring in a fastball pitcher to face Salvador Perez? As gruesome and frightening as it was, we saw what Sal did to Aroldis Chapman's 99-mile-an-hour fastball. He is maybe the Royals' best fastball hitter. So really played into his strengths and puts the Royals in front for Greg Holland.
Now, in Ventura's defense, he did have left-hander Donnie Veal up, hoping that he could somehow find a way to get Perez out, but didn't happen. All right, big Adam Dunn. Pinch hit.
I think to Joel's point, though, why even give it? Who cares who you bring in? Why even give Sal a chance?
I agree.
But hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Adam Dunn made the final out yesterday. Greg Holland struck him out, and Adam Dunn rather not very thrilled with the home plate umpire Will Little saying that he had swung. Looked like a swing. But he was in Will Little's face as the Royals were celebrating their first win of the year. And now 3 balls and no strikes.
They'll have a runner for Dunn. Like I mentioned yesterday, Holland will tell you his best pitch is strike one. Got to get in there. He can't let these guys back in.
That shift includes Mike Moustakas playing up the middle. There's strike one. Adam Eaton will follow. And then Marcus Semien. Leadoff walk. And now a pinch runner. Larry Garcia will run for Adam Dunn.
And Larry's got good speed. This guy's middle infielder, could play center field too. He's really got dynamic speed. So he might be off to the races.
Royals ready for a bunt as Moustakas is on the grass. And Adam Eaton not showing bunt. And he takes outside. And the fans are really chewing on home plate umpire Ted Barrett, feeling like the borderline calls are going Chicago's way. 1 for 4. He singled in the first inning, and then Eaton drove in a run with a ground out in the 5th. Garcia's not running. And a slider's in for strike one.
Try the off-speed pitch, and it worked. We saw Eaton face Herrera yesterday, and Eaton obviously loves the fastball. Just tries to put his bat out there to make some contact.
Two and one. Well, and it looked like there Ted Barrett even maybe flinched.
Ooh, man, that's a good low strike. Didn't get it. Have to get right back in there.
It looks low, but that's a hitter who's listed at 5'8".
That's right.
So his at the knees is lower in the zone compared to most hitters. 3-2. Holland coming back with 97 miles an hour.
Okay, now let's see if Ventura turns Garcia loose at first base, 3-2 here. Could be a strike him out, throw him out situation.
Started to go and then he stopped, so he didn't quite get the jump that he wanted, and he really doesn't have a big lead over there. Now he'll take a moment to tie his shoes. Garcia does, before getting back to first base. Garcia runs, and it's fouled away by Eaton.
Okay, there was an off-speed pitch. Holland's got to really mix him up on Eaton. Sitting fastball, but he's protecting.
Remember, we were talking about all those close games between the Royals and the Tigers. Well, how about the Royals and the White Sox? Royals 10-9 last year. Look at the runs scored. Almost exactly even. Both teams pitch well. Both teams hit very little. 9 games decided by 1 run. Here we are, 4-3 in the 9th. And with Garcia running, Eaton fouls it away again.
And you know, you're not going to see Holland throw over to first base very much, because closers, they trust their stuff that they can strike the batter out. They don't care about the runner. Their focus is on that guy at the plate. He's the one that can hurt you. They're not giving in. They're not going to give him a fastball.
Running again, and got him to chase a pitch in the dirt. First base was occupied with less than 2 outs, so Eaton runs, but he's out. However, the White Sox get the tying run up to second base on a stolen base.
Man, it would take a lot of plate discipline for Eaton to spit on that and take that, because after swinging at the 3 previous pitches, he's in swing mode. So excellent job of signal calling there, throwing the split finger in the dirt. He's already committed. That's what makes Holland so difficult to pick up. Now he's got to go to work.
Marcus Semien, 1 for 4. It was his single to lead off the 8th inning that got a 2-run inning going and tied the game for Chicago. And then the Royals regained the lead in the bottom of the 8th. Down and away for ball 1. Semien has only faced Holland once. That was last year, and he struck out. One and one. Man, hang with him with that pitch, huh?
You think you're going to try to hit that? You couldn't hit that with a tennis racket. That's some downward action, knee high.
Had a play. Back with 97 miles an hour. Bruce Chen went 6 1/3 and lost the opportunity to win the game when the White Sox got 2 in the 8th. Offense picked up Wade Davis in the bottom of the 8th, and now Greg Holland with a nasty pitch. Semien's had better swings than that, as Holland strikes out his 2nd in the inning.
Woo, man, I'll tell you, that's an emergency hack right there by Semien. You can see how he's on the side of the ball. That's his slider. That's going straight down. You know, it's a difficult situation to try to hit any closer, especially when you're new in the league like Semien. Now, Abreu, being a rookie, new in the league, saw a good taste or a good visual of Holland yesterday as he struck out in the game. Let's see what he can do it again.
Starts him off with the same pitch. He just froze Abreu yesterday on a day where everybody was freezing because of the weather on a pitch just like that. And Abreu didn't wait around for the call from the home plate umpire. As his own umpire, he said, "Thank you very much, see you tomorrow," and just took off for the dugout. Grounded to Moustakas. Long throw is right on the money. Well, remember last year when the Royals scored 4 or more runs, they were 51 games above 500, 64-13. They scored 7 yesterday, and they hit the magic number today thanks to Alex Gordon, a 2-out double in the 8th, Salvador Perez,